Hey, I'm Heather, and today we're gonna make bruschetta. So bruschetta is something really colorful, very nice, and it's actually pretty easy to make. So what you need fresh basil, fresh Roma tomatoes, garlic, red wine vinegar, really good olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and a little bit of salt and pepper, and a little bit of feta cheese. So here we go. Roma tomato. Make sure when you select your Roma tomatoes that they are very firm to the touch. You don't want anything smushy. When you look inside your Roma tomato, when you cut the top off, you'll see chambers. Cut against the chambers, and that way you can see the seeds that are there. You're gonna wanna seed your Roma tomatoes. You can do that with a spoon and just pulls right out, and then maybe use your thumbs to get the rest of the seeds. You really don't want to have the seeds in the bruschetta topping. It's just not a really great mouthfeel. I already have some of these cut up. You need about 8 Roma tomatoes. So when you cut these, if they're really firm, you can cut them flesh side down, but normally I try to cut them skin side down and then cut through the meat or the flesh of the Roma tomato. This way, if they are just a little bit soft, you're not gonna smush that flesh too much because that makes them mushy and that's kind of gross. So again, skin side down, cut through the flesh, and when you cut these, you're cutting them into strips, kind of small like you would if you were cutting strips of bell peppers, and then small, a little bit smaller than bite-sized squares, because this is going to be going into a salad, maybe on top of a piece of toast, and you want it to be a quick bite. So that's Roma tomatoes. Next, let me clean off my board. Next, we're gonna add the basil, and we're gonna learn something a little fancy. It's called a chiffonade. So when you pick your basil, you're gonna want about, for 8 Roma tomatoes, you need about 10 larger leaves of basil. And when you pick the basil, don't use the stem, just take the tender leaf. So that's 1, stack them up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you wanna stack them up, and then you're gonna roll them, kind of like a burrito. Roll it kind of tight. And then with your knife, cut it into very thin strips. It's a ribbon, so chiffonade French for ribbons. Okay, I like mine to have a little bit more basil, so we're gonna have 4 more, 5 more. So 8 Roma tomatoes, about 8 to 10 leaves. Roll it up. If you're uncomfortable using a sharp knife so close to your fingers, another great way to do this is with kitchen shears. You just roll it up tightly, and then over your bowl, quickly cut through your little roll into ribbons. There you go. After your basil, you go to garlic. And for this, you need 1 large clove of garlic. Smash down the top. Oh, and the skin should come right off. That one was a little more difficult. That's okay. And then you're gonna mince the garlic. It's super important for the garlic to be minced really fine. I mean, think about, you're serving this to your guest or your family, and you don't want them to have a big giant mouthful of garlic. So super, super small, super fine. Some folks, they'll use the edge of their blade and smush down, almost making it into a garlic paste. I am not really good at that, so I just mince it pretty fine. Another thing you can do, if you don't want to do this, is in the grocery store, they have the minced garlic and oil. You can use that and just use like about a teaspoon of that. Here we go. There's your garlic. Okay, let me just rinse off my hands real quick. So in our bowl, we have 8 Roma tomatoes, about 8 to 10 leaves of basil, 1 large garlic clove. Next, we're gonna add what's gonna cook those tomatoes, and that's the vinegar. So you add about 1/3 cup of red wine vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So you're wanting those vinegars to do the heavy lifting for you. You don't need really any salt. If you do just a little pinch of salt, I'm gonna put in a little pinch of kosher salt and then a couple of turns of pepper. Take that out there. There we go. Now to this, just all you do is stir it up. Make sure that everything is kind of well incorporated. The garlic is gone through, the basil is all there, and all that you need to do from here is let it sit for about 15 minutes and then you can serve it or eat it. What I like to do is add about 1 tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of feta right on top, and it just kind of gives it a little something extra that I really like. This is great if you take it to a dinner party. It's a different type of side dish. You just put it in a bowl, add some little crostinis. You can get them at the grocery store. Another way to eat this that I enjoy is almost as a lunch, and I make a cucumber salad with the bruschetta on top. So it's a great, incredibly healthy option, very fresh, very fast. I hope you enjoy it and have a good week.